What's up everyone, Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic, and I am back with a collection update. Managed to snag a lot of stuff, sort of in between holiday shopping and whatnot, and this is only the first part of it. I didn't want to do another, like, super giant one, just because that was a long video to do, and it was a lot of editing. So, we got a smaller stack. It's still a lot of stuff, but definitely a lot of interesting underground stuff in here, and possibly some surprises along the way. So let's get into it. Invincible Force, Decomposed Sacramentum. This came out this year on Dark Descent Records, another one I didn't quite get to, and really wish I had, because this is absolutely awesome. Blackened thrash, blackened death metal. It's kind of a mix of all three. It has elements of all three. You get definitely a lot of Sarcophago worship on here, but definitely like Possessed, Morbid Angel, Deicide. There are machine gun riffs left and right. And unlike a lot of South American death metal, thrash metal, like stuff that is akin to this doesn't really kind of go off the rails and go like super crazy like a lot of South American death metal goes. Like, it's nuts, and I love it for that. This is a little bit more about grooves and riffs, and man, do they absolutely nail it. Most of the songs are pretty short on here, but it is foot on the gas almost the entire time. And I absolutely love the guitar work. I love the energy on it. This has been a lot of fun to listen to. And I love the intense drumming on here. Absolutely awesome album, and I strongly recommend checking this one out. Accuser, self-titled. This one also came out this year on Metal Blade Records, and honestly this is the first Accuser album that I have ever picked up. Not that I haven't wanted to, I just kind of never got around to it, and I saw this on the shelf and was like, you know what, it's about time. And this is a pretty solid album. This is a German thrash band, very much in the realm of like Sodom, Exhumer, Creator. Fast as hell, machine gun guitars once again. I mean, that's a great way to describe thrash guitars when they're done that way. The mix is a little odd. Sometimes it sounds like things kind of phase in and out. I don't know if that was intentional in those songs or it was just sort of an issue mixing it, but the songs are solid. I love how fast and aggressive this is. The lead work on here is really solid too. It kind of reminds me a lot of Megadeth, pretty much Dave bouncing off of whatever guitarist he has in the band that's generally really good. Some longer, more epic songs on here and some clean vocals, which are okay. The only thing I can knock it for is the cover of Foreigner's Urgent at the end, which is kind of but still, this was a really fun album, and I'm definitely going to have to get more Accuser, because if it's anything like this, which I imagine it is, I need more because I love thrash. So yeah, definitely check this out. Unravel, Eras of Forfeit. Now this came out in 2018 on Testimony Records, and unfortunately this band broke up last year. I actually ordered this from their Bandcamp a while ago, and I totally forgot it was on the way, to be honest. The band being defunct might explain why it took a little bit longer to get here, but they are from Australia, so that also probably explains a lot, plus COVID. Yeah, there's a lot of factors in there. But this is a really awesome death grind band, except it's like Swedish death metal meets death grind, like Exhumed meets Dismember with a touch of Nawesome. The songs are fast. They are ugly, the guitar tone snarls. They have Dan Seagrave cover art, which is always awesome, and they're vegan. Actually, it even says that pretty much somewhere in the tray or on the CD. I believe it's in the tray. This is their only full-length album, and it's a shame because this is really good. I would love to see these guys get back together because I like this blend of different extreme elements. This is death grind done exceptionally well. It almost has sort of a power violence sort of feel to it with the over-the-top sound. Like, it kind of reminds me a bit of Nails. It's particularly brutal, even has some slam riffs, but there's always hooks, and I absolutely love that. If you're going to be brutal as hell, give me some hooks. Definitely recommend this one. This is an absolute killer one-off album. Who knows, maybe, you know, a few years down the road we do a retro review. But, man, this band, I hope you guys get back together or get in some different projects and bring this sound out again because it's awesome. Check this out. Convulse Deathstar. This used to be a death metal band from Finland. Their debut album, A World Without God, is absolutely incredible. Now, they have since kind of moved on in their sound, but what they're doing now is kind of confusing. Now, this one came out this year on Transcending Records, and it's kind of prog metal, or like maybe stoner metal, I don't know. It's a really odd blend, but the really weird thing is they kept the death metal vocals over this new style, which doesn't lend itself to death metal vocals. The opening track, Extreme Dark Light, kind of has a Black Sabbath sort of groove and bounce to it. Like, I don't know, it kind of has that chug that you'd hear on Children of the Grave, but you have these really low, raspy vocals, which are kind of back in the mix, but still, I feel like if you're going to go for something more melodic, you should actually attempt some more melodic vocals. There's even songs in here that remind me more of like Uriah Heep and Deep Purple and Tool. But again, all growl vocals. There are no clean vocals on here. I don't think there's even really an attempt at them. Even the growls aren't particularly tuneful. This is an odd release, and I really was kind of hoping, since they still have this awesome logo, that they'd be kind of returning to their death metal roots, but they're definitely doing their own thing. It's just, I don't know, it's too hard to get into. It's just kind of confusing as to their choices in terms of vocals and the actual music, because it's weird. It's not even like death and roll, it's just strange. But still, I recommend checking it out. There are some really cool songs in here. You just have to get past the vocals because, again, it doesn't fit. But either way, check it out. It's at least an interesting listen. Gama Bomb, Sea Savage. This is a Gama Bomb album. If you're familiar with Gama Bomb, they are a straight-up thrash metal band. Kind of speed metal, I guess, because they prefer cleaner vocals. And they do occasionally mix in a little bit of like classic heavy metal stuff in here, but it's primarily thrash metal. They're from Ireland. This is their newest release. It came out on Proselyte this year, kind of towards the end. I believe this was a December release. But it's them doing what they do. It's humorous thrash metal, but they're very serious about the riffs, and there are tons on here. In fact, they have James Stewart from Vader and Decapitated playing on here, who is English, but he likes to play in Polish death metal bands that are really good, so can't really knock them there. But this is just flat out fun to listen to. It really isn't a break in anything they've done before, but it's Gama Bomb. You know, you get a lot of goofy jokes. There's a song on here called She's Not My Mother, Todd. Take that, Todd. Ready, Steady, Goat, Miami Super Cops. Screw it, why not? Let's just kind of have fun with it, and that's pretty much Gama Bomb's mantra. Let's have fun, let's bring the riffs, and some killer lead work. It's just flat out fun thrash. Again, if you've never heard Gama Bomb, literally start at any album. They're all really good, they're all really fun, and if you love fast thrash metal, you'll dig it. So yeah, check out this one, check out any of their albums, because they're pretty damn good. Check it out. Leprosy, Obnoxious, Futuristic Vision. This is this band's debut album on PRC Music, and right away, these guys love death. They love death a lot. Death, Pestilence, Slayer. This is very thrashy death metal. I love the guitar tone on here. It is so damn crunchy. Everything pretty much about like late 80s death metal / early 90s, but most of that late 80s era where it was still kind of just heavier thrash. Excellent technical play, lots of good harmonies on here. The vocals are very, very Chuck, except when he does a high-pitch Araya scream. I would say some of the songs go a little long. This is 52 minutes long and 9 tracks, so yeah, most of these tracks are pretty long. And they kind of get into the whole riff salad thing, but it's a pretty fun salad, and they do come up with some really creative riffs. It just kind of runs along a little bit. And there are some odd choices in here, like a harmonica solo in the middle of a kind of thrashy break. It's just kind of odd, especially when it trades off to the lead. You're like immediately, oh, that fits so much better than the harmonica. But, well, you know, way to try something different. This is a killer debut, though. I really, really dug this, and I'm definitely looking forward to more from these guys. So if you love, again, late 80s death metal, early 90s death metal, maybe a little bit of thrash, any of those, get it. It's absolutely awesome and great guitar work again. Check it out. Puscifer, Existential Reckoning. This is their new album, came out this year on Alchemy Recordings, and it's another interesting Puscifer album. Honestly, I think Maynard is investing more creativity in Puscifer than he is in Tool, and possibly a Perfect Circle here lately. This is, once again, their odd blend of like dark synthwave stuff, like heavy alternative rock, and I don't know, just kind of their own oddness. It's very strange. A lot of this is pretty much like Depeche Mode meets Queens of the Stone Age. And there's a lot of cool vocal play in terms of like the layering, vocal harmonies and such between Maynard and I can't remember her name, but she sings really well in here and harmonizes really well with them. Awesome songs though. I really got into this. It's just, you know, a really moody, dark synthy piece. Bullet Train to Iowa is probably my favorite song in here so far. It's the one I just keep coming back to. I love the vocal melodies on that and just the overall dark 80s synth feel. I love that sort of shit. Definitely check this out if you haven't checked it out. I think I made it on like Revolver's year-end list, which, yeah, it's good. I don't know if it would be on my year-end list, and it's not metal enough really because it's really not metal, but it's really good, and I would definitely say check it out if you like dark, creepy synth shit. Check it out. Abhomini, Proselyte, Parasite, Plague. I think I said that first word right, really not sure. Anyway, this is the second release from these guys. This actually features Pete Hellkamp from Angel Corpse, and this is raw blackened death metal, I guess, like a little bit of thrash in there too. Not really well recorded. It's a very raw style and raw recording, especially the vocals. The vocals sound like they were kind of just all done in one take with really no effects or compression on the vocals. It sounds like almost kind of like a live recording. It kind of reminded me, at least as far as the vocals and the recording, of Panzerfaust by Darkthrone in terms of how the vocals sounded especially raw on that. And I think Nocturno was pretty drunk during those takes. I don't think these guys were. I just think they went for a more raw recording. But unfortunately, at least for me, the music isn't particularly interesting. I love Angel Corpse. I think those guys wrote some incredible stuff. And it sucks they're not around anymore. This is just kind of okay. I mean, it's raw, it's kind of punky, it's definitely like aggressive and underground, but it's not very interesting. There's not a lot of songs really jumped out on here. And this is a really short album. It's only 6 songs, and it's actually considered a full length, I believe. It just feels kind of thrown together. But again, that's just my opinion. I strongly recommend everyone check out all of these, form your own opinions. But yeah, this one didn't really do much for me, but who knows, you might dig it. So check it out. Aftermath Vermine, or Vermine, we'll call it Vermine. This is this band's debut album. It came out on PRC Music, and this is technical death grind, I guess. It's classified as death and grind, and I can definitely see that because the songs are shorter. There's definitely some grindcore elements, but the big thing on here is technical play, so I guess technical death grind kind of fits. A couple of the members on here are from the band Deviant Process, and they are straight up tech death, so I think they brought those elements to this. But this is a really interesting album in terms of how they blend that into a more grindcore style. It's very spastic, very nutty. You have no idea where it's going to go next. There's lots of arpeggios and squealing leads. But it's interesting to hear this sort of technical play brought into like a more grind sound. You still have all the straight up blast beats and the flat out grind feel in a lot of these songs, but it's interesting to hear that technical play come in. Loads of breakdowns on here, and this does kind of lean more towards death metal, so that's kind of expected. If I was going to compare this to any band, it'd be like a more technical Misery Index, which Misery Index is reasonably technical already. But these are shorter songs and definitely more grind leaning than at least Misery Index is now. They're kind of more of a death metal band. Either way, pretty solid album. I strongly recommend checking this out. I kind of just picked this up on a whim, and I saw it was on PRC Music, and we definitely have reviewed a lot of stuff for them. So yeah, if you're looking for a different approach to grind, yeah, check it out. It's pretty solid. Breeding Filth, Perverse, Devolution. Now this is this band's debut. It came out on Severed Records in 2016, and it was pretty much advertised at least as tech death. At least that's what Encyclopedia Metalum said. This is more technical brutal death because it definitely has all the hallmarks of brutal death metal, especially as soon as you jump into this one, you're greeted to low pig squeals and just flat out like, you know, brutal death music. It's definitely technical in spots, but for the most part, it is all about blast beats, the occasional slam break, really interesting high and low switch ups in terms of the vocals. It does stay in that sort of pig growl for most of it, but I do appreciate the effort to sort of change it up. It doesn't just stick with the pig growl, which really starts annoying me after a while. And the production on it is pretty solid. They didn't go with a more brutal death sound or slam sound. The snare has a nice tight snap to it, and they definitely wanted to show off some melody in here too, which I was kind of surprised the amount of melodic passages on here. It isn't all about just flat out beat downs and weird techie spazzes. I prefer the tech death side of them over the brutal death side because it just kind of gets a little repetitive. And the songs kind of feel a little slapped together in spots, like, whoa, this one was calling for a more melodic passage, we just gotta squeeze it in here, but it really doesn't fit. So yeah, some of the transitions can be a little wonky, but overall, it's a pretty decent album. I don't think this band is around anymore, either that or they haven't put out an album in a while, but either way, if you like brutal death or tech death, check it out. Crippled Black Phoenix, We Shall See Victory, 2012. Now this is a 2019 reissue of their 2012 concert, which I'm not entirely sure if they put out a live album for it or this is a reissue. Confusing, but it came out on K-Scope Records, and this band is absolutely amazing. I love Crippled Black Phoenix. They're kind of a post-rock band, though I would say they have some metal leanings here and there, especially their last album. Their last album I really dug, but hell of a live performance. I usually don't buy live albums just because I'd much rather see them live, but these guys are absolutely amazing. Of a Lifetime, one of my favorite songs by them, that was on the first album I think I ever got by them, and I was like, wow, what is this? Live rendition, absolutely amazing. Not really going to ramble on about this much, but I would strongly recommend all of their albums. You never know what you're going to get. It could flip around on you at any moment, and if you like that sort of adventurous approach to music, check out this and check out all their stuff. Deathgrave, So Real, It's Now. This is the debut album from this grindcore, death metal, power violence act from California, and Jesus, this album just beats the hell out of you. I was really surprised at how much death metal was on this because when I was looking them up, it came up more as a power violence band. I was like, all right, well, we'll probably get some stuff that sounds like Nails. Definitely did, but there are a lot of different elements on here. There are slow, sludgy death metal breaks, and most of these songs are really short. I think there's only one track on here over 3 minutes, but there's actual atmosphere on here in terms of like droning melodies and sort of like creepy, depressive stuff. But it can shift dramatically to just flat out blast beats, beatdowns, growls. It's a really nuts listen. This album is all over the place. The last track on here is like a dark synthwave song with groans in the background, and again, about that creepy atmosphere. D-beats, breakdowns, it's just nasty, but I mean, it kind of fits all in that kind of grindcore package. It's a short, violent listen, and I absolutely love it. This came out in 2018 on Taint Crimes, and flew under my radar. I had no idea this existed until about a week ago, and I have been jamming it a good chunk of the day, and it is a lot of fun to listen to. So if you like grind, power violence, death metal, just heavy extreme music in general, check this band out. It's awesome. Demonical, World Domination. This is their new album, came out this year on Agonia Records, and this could have complicated my year-end list if I had heard it, because this is another awesome offering from this band. This is straight up Swedish death metal. The riffs, the guitar tone, the overall feel, all of it's there, all that dismember and entombed worship, but mix that with a little bit of hypocrisy. These guys kind of made a bit of a shift, at least recently, to have more melody in their sound, but they still kept all that Stockholm grittiness. This kind of goes back a little bit more towards the Stockholm side. There's still some melodic hooks on here, but the overall feel on here is not melodeath, it's Swedish death metal, it's Stockholm death metal. It's heavier than hell, very anthemic. You get songs that pretty much stick to that, dismember sound, but you also have some very anthemic stomps that are like Bolt Thrower and Amon Amarth. They even bring in the vocalist from Astral Doors on here to do a song, which I would tell you which one it is, but it is an absolute pain in the ass to get this thing out of here. It took a while for me to get this thing out so I could rip it onto my computer, and I don't know if I'm going to take this thing out. I'm going to leave it in the sleeve because I kind of had to bend it a bit. But anyway, he pops up on whatever track he pops up on, I think it's the second to last one, and actually adds some really cool clean vocals, and he sounds a lot like Ronnie James Dio, so I thought that was pretty damn cool. Check this out. If you love Swedish death metal, you probably already picked this one up. I saw this on some year-end lists, and I can definitely see why. But yeah, I missed it, and it could have been on there. Maybe a runner-up. I don't know. Either way, it's awesome. Check it out. Evangelist, Nightmare Catcher. This came out this year on Hell's Headbangers Records, and this is a atmospheric black and death metal band, I guess you can call it. Okay, I didn't know, but there's a lot of dispute around this release, I guess. There are technically 2 versions of this band, and this is, I believe, the singer's version, because this is a 2-man act where they're both multi-instrumentalists, or at least they were when they were together. Apparently there are some rape accusations about the multi-instrumentalist on this one. I don't know if they're true or not, so I'm going to not cast judgment, but it ended up in a split. And again, there are 2 versions of this band, and I kind of want to hear the other version because this version is not good. I try to get into really experimental music. I try to like push what I listen to, and I could not get into this. First off, there are 3 tracks, and each track is over 10 minutes long. In fact, 2 of them are over 15 minutes long, and they're not interesting or very well put together. It takes about 10 minutes for anything really musical to start on the first track, and it's just droning noise and ambience. And when the drums do finally come in, you kind of wish they hadn't, because they're not really well mixed or very well played. It actually sounds like the riffs and the drums are out of sync, and I believe all the music on here is being played by one person, and then a vocalist, I can't remember from what band, is actually doing all the vocals on here, which I couldn't really hear most of the vocals throughout all the dissonance and noise, and it's just not very good. I tried to find something on here that I really liked, and I really couldn't. And I do want to hear the other version of this band just to see if that was better, because this is my first exposure to this band, and this may have been the wrong place to start. But yeah, it's an acquired taste, I guess. But, you know, I picked it up on a whim, and, well, you can't win them all. So either way, I strongly recommend checking it out just to see if you guys can find anything you like about it. It may just be me. I'm just not into just waves of noise and ambience. I need some hooks. But, yeah, still check it out. Tell me what you think. It's not for me, though. And finally, we have Lye and Ruins, Floating in Timeless Streams. This is this band's 3rd album. It's on Dark Descent, and this is straight up old school Finnish death metal. And I have to say it might be a little bit blackened, or blackened-ish. Like, there's just parts on here that remind me of blackened death metal, even though it says it's flat out death metal. All the lead work is extra gloomy and atmospheric. The riffs are very sludgy, but they kind of have that blackened death metal sort of feel to it. Very old school. It's very straightforward, chuggy death metal in a lot of spots. I think it's good, but it doesn't really stand out very much from a lot of the other stuff I listen to. And I think their strongest parts are when they're leaning more towards Death Doom. The Death Doom sections on here are particularly strong, especially the song The Path. That is a slow, plodding beast of a song. But I still like the faster stuff on here. There are some solid hooks. It just kind of blends in a little bit with a lot of the other stuff that's out there, but it's still really good. I definitely want to check out more by this band because they definitely have a solid core sound. I just want to see if different elements pop up on different albums. But either way, definitely check this out. This was a pretty solid listen. All right, well, that knocks out another one of these. There will be definitely more coming up. I still have another stack that I'm literally looking at right now. And going to get to that, and hopefully here soon we're going to be recording another discography ranking. And, well, a new year is coming. That means 2020 can get the fuck out of here, and man, I am going to dance a fucking jig in its grave. Oh, this year has been, a lot of it. But we're going to get through it, and we're going to keep doing stuff like this because it keeps our sanity and we enjoy doing it. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We will catch you later.